So last week I did something which I haven't done in a long time, and that is buy a new release game at full price. The game being Atomic Heart. The reason I bought it at full price is because I heard it was a successor to BioShock, and BioShock is my favorite game of all time. But I ended up finding out it pretty much just is BioShock. So they're starting it off like BioShock Infinite and Fallout. Dude, they even have little Fallout animations. And Prey. So now we're going full Prey. And Fast and Furious? Dude, is that Fast and Furious 10 trailer? So the game was made by a Russian game studio, and believe me when I say you can definitely tell, because the dialogue literally sounds like it was directly translated using Google Translate.
Grab some tea. The TV show's starting.
You've got cookies?
Hey, honey, don't shut.
A lot of the sentences that the protagonist says and just the way that he interacts with other NPCs is so strange and odd sounding.
Give me your hand.
Oh, I didn't see that coming.
What are these one-liners? He even throws out the occasional one-liner that doesn't fit at all to the context, and his inflections and the way he speaks is just very, very off-putting.
I'll call you whatever I feel like, glove.
Dude, okay, the game looks amazing. The dialogue is so goofy. When it comes to the visuals, the game is very, very good. It's very aesthetically pleasing. It looks very nice. The designs are very well thought out and put together, and it really feels like you're in a post-World War II Russian dictatorship. But when it comes to what they put in the world, it's kind of lackluster. You have a lot of NPCs repeating dialogue and a lot of things that happen that aren't really necessary to anything. Like, it doesn't do any world building. It's literally just happening around you. Right at the beginning, for example, there are two doctors who have this sort of mind control dot thing that they're offering you, and there's two stands next to each other. If you talk to the man at the first stand, he says one dialogue. If you talk to the man at the second stand, he says the same exact dialogue, like literally one to one. Even the protagonist says the same exact thing. Oh, he's gonna give me something. I probably should have listened to what he said.
Oh, that's odd. I can't seem to access your biometric.
Am I a robot?
Oh, that's odd. I can't seem to access.
He says the same exact thing as the other guy. And I can understand that they're trying to enhance the feeling of the world that you're in, but the world itself is already very immersive. So if you have NPCs repeating dialogue or just useless information, then it kind of takes you out of the immersion itself. An interesting feature that they do have, though, if you want to skip the repeated dialogue, is that when you skip a dialogue line, it doesn't just skip over it, but instead does this like fast forward effect, and I actually really like that.
There's a brief piece on new weapon systems.
What? So it's a fast
Mind
forward?
taking that for a spin.
That's interesting. I've never seen anything like that before, and it kind of just highlighted to me how strange skipping dialogue in other games actually is, and it definitely helps with the immersion. What doesn't help with the immersion is the sound design, or may I say, the lack thereof. Because a lot of parts that are supposed to feel heavy and like something's actually happening, you don't hear anything at all. At some point in the game, you come across this mechanical robot tunneler thing that's like a worm, but just extremely dangerous. And he comes through walls, he bashes through walls, goes into other walls, but you hear none of it. He just broke through the wall, and it barely sounded like anything. Oh, I gotta back up.
At incredible speed. Soviet science has high hopes for them.
It feels like nothing. All you hear is the sound of the machine itself, but all the rubble crashing on the floor and the walls busting open don't make any noise. And there are a lot of moments like this where there are infrastructures being torn apart, or there's something crashing or robots being destroyed and exploding, where you don't hear really anything at all. So in the end, it sounds like they designed the entire game but forgot to send off the email telling the sound design team that they still need environmental sounds. Either that or stuff just doesn't make noise in Russia, but I don't know. So when I said it's supposed to be a BioShock successor but is BioShock, that kind of implanted itself with the combat. You have melee combat where your weapon is an axe instead of a wrench, you have gun combat where your first weapon is a shotgun, and you have your powers. Now the powers you get in Atomic Heart are built along the same exact premise as BioShock's tonics.
Just inject a special neuropolymer encoded with the education you want.
BioShock.
A university-level natural sciences curriculum, for example.
BioShock.
And you'll instantly become an educated member of society. Want to learn Korean?
Dude.
Or get a doctorate in nuclear physics?
These are
Or learn to
literally
play
the same
piano?
examples
With
they gave in
Collective
BioShock.
2.0, you can!
Someone found a way to enhance the human genome, and now you can shoot ice out of your hands. Even the order in which you get the powers are the same. The first power you start with is Shock Bolt.
More skills will become available to you soon. But choose shock for
What the fuck just happened? Was I supposed to do something? Now where it differentiates from BioShock is having the combat actually feel impactful. In BioShock, you feel your hits and your shots. Everything feels like it's done with strength and power, and you actually feel like the enemy is being damaged. In Atomic Heart, it feels more like you're in a testing station for weapons. The first enemy you face are these robots that are kind of just atomic crash test dummies, and when you hit them, it feels more like you're tapping them on the shoulder. Oh, they do want me. Okay. Oh, the chicken's attacking him. So when you hit with your axe, it's less of a wonk and more of a My sound design is better than their sound design team. It's kind of disappointing when you finally find a shotgun and the shots feel like that salt shooter that you shoot flies with in the kitchen. Dude, this shotgun does not feel like it's doing anything. Which will be good if you were fighting flies. But this isn't Atomic Flies. This is Atomic Heart. Heart's not a robot, but there's still robots you gotta fight against, and that's why it's very, very disappointing. There's also an option for stealth, but I feel like the robots see you from no matter how far away you are, so stealthing up on opponents is pretty much impossible. Does he see me? Dude, so I guess stealth isn't really a thing? And that sucks for somebody like me who prefers stealth over the running and gunning. Now the powers are just nerfed versions of Bioshock's powers, and it doesn't really feel like you're doing anything special. So far I've only gotten the Shock Bolt and the Freeze Blast, and they kinda do exactly what they're called. Shock Bolt shocks the enemy and Freeze Blast freezes them. And even though the Freeze Blast can lead to some funny moments, it's kind of a letdown. The combat is kind of clunky and doesn't really feel impactful, but once you get a hang of it, it's actually kind of fun. One mechanic I do appreciate though is how they did looting. As someone who is a pathological hoarder, I usually walk up to every container I see and mash whatever the loot button is until I get everything. This is extremely simplified in Atomic Heart by letting you just hold down one button and loot everything you look at.
It wouldn't hurt to collect other resources you find along the way, maybe.
I actually like that. This quick collecting thing. Dude, I really like this. Where does the loot go, you may ask? Well, the Resident Evil inventory.
Ah, that's my storage.
They have the Resident Evil storage. And when your inventory gets full, you can send excess items to Nora. And who's Nora? Well, Nora is a interesting NPC to say the least.
No
What
need
the
to
fuck?
fight back, sugar. You're gonna love this.
What?
I'm at your service, sugar. Anything for my master? What can I do for you?
It's a fridge that wants to fuck you. Yeah, it wants to fuck, like, bad. Not only is Nora useful for storage, but she's also there for upgrading and crafting. Something that does make the upgrade feature special is that you can return abilities whenever you want for a full refund. Oh, so you can return abilities. Okay, that's cool. That means if you ever feel like changing your playstyle, you can. Other than that, there's nothing special to say about the upgrade system. It's pretty much the same thing as every other game, and the same goes for the crafting. You collect stuff, you spend stuff, you get stuff. But the upgrades and the craftables aren't as boring as the system itself, so it definitely leaves you something to look forward to. Nora can be found in safe rooms where you can also manually save, and if I'm being honest, I really like this feature and I wish it was with more games. Safe areas. Easily equipped with a manual save game machine. Resident Evil. How many games are they going to mix into this? I like the whole safe room thing. But it doesn't really fit too much in this game because safe rooms are meant to make you feel safe, and that only works if you're in danger, and this game never makes you feel like you're in danger. They also have a lockpicking mechanic that the first time you do it is exactly the same thing as Skyrim, but then they have another lockpicking mechanic, and another lockpicking mechanic, and another lockpicking mechanic, so there's a lot of lockpicks with different mechanics. And this is actually really fun because it's not the same exact thing every single time, and you have a little bit of variety. All in all, was this game worth paying $70 for? I don't know. I played it for 4 hours. I have no idea. Something this game actually did do, which a lot of games don't, is make me want to keep playing. And I don't know if that's because I just really like these types of games or if because the game is actually kind of good. But all in all, I am still interested and I'm definitely looking forward to where this game takes me. Okay, enough professionalism, time for the main rant. The fucking intro, bro, is 3 goddamn hours long. Like, I spent the first hour of the game just looking at stuff. I think you play for maybe 5 minutes of the first full hour. It's so bothersome. I actually fell asleep. I was falling asleep during the intro because it's so long, nothing's happening, and it's because we've already done the same exact intro in Bioshock Infinite, we've done it in Prey, we've done it in Skyrim, we've done the same exact intro in each one of those games. I've seen this before. Why do I have to sit here for so long? I even got a trophy for just sitting around and looking at people's faces and doing whatever the fuck. I got 2 upgrades that I can't even do anything with. They just showed me how to play the game. Why is the tutorial 1 hour long?